Tom Brady didn't just win more Super Bowls than anyone in history. He engineered one of the most unlikely, relentless reinventions in sports. Here's what most people miss. His greatest victories, they weren't physical. They were identity shifts. And that matters because the real game, it isn't played on the field. It's played in the mind. My name's Jody Friedman, and I work with high achievers and seven-figure entrepreneurs who feel successful but trapped in this identity that's limiting them, this identity that got them where they are today, but they're trying to find where they're going next. And I can tell you, after years of working with leaders who've already won on paper, I can tell you this with certainty. Success, it doesn't end when you reach the top. It breaks when you outgrow who you had to be to get there. And most people just get stuck in that old identity. See, Tom Brady, he wasn't born a legend. He was overlooked. He was doubted. He was drafted 199th overall with 6 quarterbacks picked before him. The world saw a backup. He saw a blank slate. That's the first lesson. Sometimes being underestimated is the greatest advantage that you'll ever have because it gives you permission to build your identity from scratch instead of inheriting someone else's expectation. Brady didn't just outwork his competition. He outlasted them. He rebuilt his body, his habits, and his mindset year after year. He was never the fastest or the strongest, but he was the most adaptable. And every time the game changed, he changed with it. See, most high achievers, they try to protect what they've built. Brady kept letting go of what no longer served him, even if that meant dismantling the very things that made him great in the previous season. But every champion reaches a point where the identity that created their success starts to destroy their life. For Brady, it was the obsession with proving himself, the need to be perfect, that relentless drive that made him great. But it also nearly cost him his marriage, his health, and his peace while he was playing. He talks about Super Bowl wins that felt empty, about moments where he realized that he was performing greatness instead of living it. And that's the room that so many high performers get trapped in, where your gifts slowly turn into your curse. Brady's real breakthrough wasn't a throw or a comeback. It was the decision to become the architect of his own evolution. He stopped letting the league, the media, and even his own past define him. He rebuilt his routines, his relationships, and his standards. He became a student again, not just of football, but of nutrition, of leadership, and longevity. He didn't stack new habits on an old foundation. He demolished the foundation and rebuilt it for the man he was becoming. When Brady left New England, he walked away from the system, the coach, and the identity that made him a legend. Most people, they would have stayed where it was safe. He chose radical ownership. He went to Tampa Bay, a team with a losing record, and he rebuilt everything from the ground up. He didn't just join a new team. He brought his standards, his process, and his belief, and invited everyone else to rise with him. By the way, if you're wondering what identity that you're actually operating from right now, or what's really driving your success, this is the exact work we do at wrecktheroom.com. We help high achievers see the room that they're living in and then design the one that they actually want. But anyway, Brady's greatest comeback wasn't on the scoreboard. It was in his ability to reinvent himself when everyone thought he was finished. At 43, he was supposed to be done. Instead, he won another Super Bowl. Not by being the same player he was at 25, but by letting go of that old story and writing a new one. And that's the truth about reinvention. The comeback isn't about returning to who you were. It's about becoming who you're meant to be next. Tom Brady's real legacy isn't the rings or the records. It's proof that you can outgrow every version of yourself as long as you're willing to tear down the room that you've been living in and rebuild from alignment instead of approval. Brady's story reminds us that your next level, it's not about doing more. It's about having the courage to become someone new again and again.